Hello, my friend. Welcome to Reflections and Music, praying with singers, sinners, and saints. One of my regrets from my deployment to Germany in 2007 was not accepting the invitation from a chaplain in the Canadian military, Father Patrick Dobick, to accompany him on a visit to the Abbey of Hildegard. I had never heard of Hildegard at the time, but would later learn about her canonization as a saint that occurred 5 years later in 2012. Hildegard was born into a noble family in 1098 as the 10th and last child of her parents, who dedicated her to God. She entered a world still emerging from medieval chaos, as the practice of Inquisition sought to bring order to the people. Tens of thousands marched off to fight in the Crusades. Confusion ravaged the church as 25 different popes claimed the chair of Peter during Hildegard's lifetime. Monasteries all across Europe grew lax in their observance of rules. When Hildegard was 8 years old, her parents entrusted her to the tutelage of an anchoress who lived in a hermitage next to a monastery, where Hildegard would be educated in the Benedictine traditions of music, sacred scripture, and prayer, as well as work that in her case included the spinning of cloth. Throughout her life at the monastery, she composed the music and lyrics to many hymns. The music in this reflection, in fact, is a medieval chant titled, "O Fire of the Spirit," composed by Hildegard in the 12th century. She became known for her visions, a deep spiritual awareness that she called the reflection of living in the light, and at age 43 began writing a book that would take her 10 years to finish. Eventually, her reputation as a prophetess, advisor, and healer spread throughout the land, and she became an advisor to popes and kings and queens all across Europe. She traveled often and preached to clergy, laity, monks, and nuns, comparing the church to a beautiful woman, dressed and bejeweled magnificently, who had been smeared with mud and violated. She proclaimed that sin and corruption had destroyed the harmony of the cosmos, besmirching the grandeur of God's creation. Her writings offer inspiring insights into friendship, living with conflict, relying on God, seeking the light and the beauty of a virtuous life. Some of the themes of her spirituality include care for creation, an emphasis on the beauty of a life of justice and compassion, a holistic use of one's intelligence, and a mystical theology grounded in the integrity of creation. In one of her visions, she wrote that God had declared to her, "I am the breeze that nurtures all things green. I am the rain coming from the dew that causes the grasses to laugh with the joy of life." According to legend, when she died on September the 17th, 1179, 2 streams of light appeared in the skies and crossed over into the room in which she was dying. An appropriate death, I suppose, for one nourished by the living light throughout her life. In one of her best-known writings, the Book of the Rewards of Life, she wrote, "God is known by our praise, and God's miracles are seen in our acts of kindness, because we're filled with His love and are happy to be doing the Lord's work diligently. All of God's miracles are accomplished through our praise and through our kindnesses." Perhaps Hildegard's words about kindness can guide our prayer today as we simply affirm our belovedness and ask God to clothe us with compassion, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience.